So welcome to Prosoft Configurator. Today we're going to see using Prosoft Configuration Builder how to configure Plx31 Mbs4 gateway and Plx31 Mbtcp gateway modules. So if you're into a building automation system, building management system, if you're going to work as a system integrator, this is going to be a useful session. So what are the things that we're going to do? What is this Prosoft Configuration Builder software? Why should we know about this software? Where will I use this Prosoft configuration software, and how to download this Prosoft configuration builder software, and what are the things as a BMS or a BACS engineer we should know about this Prosoft configuration builder software. So as I told earlier, today we're going to see in depth about how to do configuration Mbs4 and how to do configuration Mbtcp. So this is for the Mbs serial communication, this is for Modbus TCP communication. This is Modbus serial communication and this is Modbus TCP communication. And we're going to see how to see the values in the Prosoft configuration when you're trying to communicate with the equipments. So as we told earlier, these are the different gateways which provides the bidirectional data transfers between the Modbus serial and the Ethernet networks. That is the biggest advantage of this modules, gateways. So how it looks like, this is how it looks like. As you can see here, this is for the power provision. You will have terminals here for a 24-volt supply, power supply, and this is the port that you're going to use for any configuration, or the here this is the Ethernet port. This is the port you're going to establish the communication from this port to the network switch. Network switch has the different ports. So from here you're going to connect your Ethernet cable. So this is how you're going to establish a connection between your network and with this gateway. And these four ports are going to act as a your field equipments. You have a TX, RX, port numbers can be 1, 3 or 6. So this TX and RX you're going to connect with here, and you will have a jack here which will be connected in 1, 2, 3, 4 ports. And these field equipments, it can be a energy, it can be energy meters. So this is going to act as a master. So for the energy meters you should have a different slave IDs. Slave ID can be 1, 2, 3, 4. Slave IDs cannot be same, because if you keep the slave ID same, the communication won't be the proper. The slave IDs should be different for the different field equipment that are going to connect these four different ports. So as I told earlier, for the Modbus serial communication, we're using this Mbtcp, for mostly importantly for the power monitoring purpose, and to communicate the data from here. Try to convert that serial communication to the Modbus Ethernet. Then you're going to connect it through your PLCs. It can be your PLCs. Through the network switches also you can connect with your PLCs. So there are so many series in it. Based on the number of ports, based on the different sort of requirements, you have different equipments in it. So it has a general provision at the back end side. As you can see here, we have jumper provisions also. By changing the different jumper provisions, we can change the different settings in it. As I told earlier, we have 3 different modes. If your jumper is connected here, there is no much issues. You can communicate with it. It is able to communicate with everyone. And say for example, you had forgotten the IP address of the concerned equipment. Now you want to reassign it. For that reassigning, what you need to do, you need to get it back to the default IP. For that one, you need to remove the jumper from here and need to put in the mode 2. So that what will happen, it will get assigned back to its default IP, that is 192.168.0.250. And keep your PC in this range and go inside it and try to assign the IP for this concerned equipment. Then restart the equipment. Then you also change your IP and then try to reconnect it. So this is how you need to do the basic IP change connections. If you don't know it. If it is a new one, it will be with this IP only. No need to do any sort of jumper changes. Try to configure it. Try to keep your PC range in this one, and then try to access it. So that you can able to establish the communication with it. If it is already assigned, you have forgotten, you have missed out the IP address detail, you have forgotten it, you want to reassign it, if you want to establish the recommunication, you want to do the troubleshooting, and then what you can do through the mode 2, you can bring it back to the default IP. Then you can access it and you can use it. And what is the special feature of this mode 3? If you keep your jumpers in the mode 3, it has 2 different things. One is that it is a protection one, secured. Say for example, there is a possibility for intruders to get into your network. They can access your data. So in order to avoid it, what you can do, if you keep your jumpers in mode 3, either they won't be able to do any upload function, or they cannot be able to do any sort of download function. This is the biggest advantage of this mode 3. So since it is a gateway, it should be protected. Okay, so protections you can use in different methodologies, but the best way to do the protection is you can keep the usernames and passwords inside it, or otherwise if you want to do the physical connections, you can go with this. Okay, so as I told earlier, this is the power connection provision. You can have the LED indications here. So when the unit is connected, you have different indications. So most importantly, we used to go for the 24-volt DC provision. So next thing is that how from where we need to download this Prosoft configuration builder software. You can download it from prosoft-technologies.com. Okay, so we'll show an example here. So it will be easy for you where to download it. Here I open it for you. So as you can see here, so we have a website for this Prosoft Technologies. So based on the type and model, you can see here. So this is a products Mbs4. Okay, you can download it from the downloads. You have all the necessary details. You have the data sheets, you have the manuals. Okay, and most importantly, this is your software Prosoft configuration builder software you can download. Or if you're going for any design supports, you can download the CAD files also. And the same thing which is applied for the Modbus TCP also. So you have this website. When you go here, so this is Modbus TCP IP. As you can see here, you have the downloads option. So from there you can download the data sheet, you can download the process configuration software also. And sometimes if you want access with your PLCs, you need the help of this EDS files. Okay, if you want to connect within the RS links, if you want to discover its properties properly, you need the help of the EDS files. So you can download the concerned gateways EDS files from this website. Okay, even for the Modbus serial also you have the EDS files. You can download the EDS files. Okay, now let us get back to the topic that we are discussing. So once you have downloaded from that website, okay, what you can do, you can save it, okay, install it in your desktop. Okay, once it is properly installed, okay, first and foremost thing that you want to do is that, okay, if you want to set up a temporary IP address, okay, what you can do, first and foremost thing is that you have detected it. Okay, if it is already there, okay, you had try to connect your PC to that Ethernet. You have an option for do. You can delete it. Okay, you can include it. You can copy it, paste it. You can choose a different module type. All the options you have. Even if it is already IP address is there, you can upload the from the device to the PC, or if you want to configure it, you can download from it PC to the devices. So all the options you can do, or if you want to view the configuration also, you can do it. Okay, and most importantly, we can also have the export and import functions also in it. Okay, most importantly, when we are going for the diagnostics or when we select for the diagnostics, what will happen? As you can see here, okay, when you click on the diagnostic button, okay, this window will open. What you will do, it will show cannot connect to the IP. So what you can do, you should know the default IP. As we have told earlier, the default IP of the new this gateway will be 192.168.0.250. Okay, or sometimes you forgot, so you can keep in the mode 2. Okay, mode 2 jumper, keep your jumpers in the mode 2, then you can access this IP. You can select the browse connections. So when you browse it, so there is a device discovery item. Okay, if it is there, you will have the equipments here. You have different equipments. Okay, we have two options. If you want to assign the temporary IP, right click, assign the temporary IP. Okay, and please keep the subnet mask everything whatever you require and press the OK button. Once you done this, it will change the IP from, say for example, 192.168.0.250 is your default IP. If you want to change it to 16.14.12.7, then it will get changed automatically. So this is how basically you need to assign the IP addresses. So the first thing that we learned is that how to assign the temporary IP address in your Plx31, okay, Mbs4, or even for Mbtcp also the concept is going to be the same. Okay, so as I told earlier, now you want to set up the project. How to set up the project basically? So once you after installing, once you opened your Prosoft configuration built a software, this is how the screen is going to be. So if it is a new one, this is how it is going to be. So first and foremost thing is that you need to create the project. So you have the folder, you can create the project, or you can choose what sort of model you want to. So if it is a default model, that is different, but you want to choose the model, whether you're going to use based on the physical presence of whether you're going to use Mbs4 or Mbtcp model that you're going to choose. Okay, then here you can select what type you want. So since we are discussing about the Plx31 series, this Plx31 Mbs4 you can use, or in the forthcoming sessions we are also going to discuss about Plx31 Mbtcp also, so you can choose these two. So this is the model. So based on the gateway module that you're going to use, first you need to select it. So once you select it, okay, so this is how the settings will be there. Okay, then say for example I had selected Mbs4, this is the settings will be. As you can see here, the port 3 is blocked here. Okay, and the port 4 is not used. There is no connections. If there is any sort of connection in the port 1 and 2, you can able to see here the status, if it is used or not. Okay, if it is not used or if it is unchecked, then you can select and enable these things. Okay, if it is not connected, so from here itself you can able to identify physically the connection is there or not, if it is powered up properly. Okay, as I told earlier, if uncheck is there, okay, if you, it means some sort of action required. It means you need to enable the port. If the port is disabled, so okay, whenever you're making a configurations, please enable your ports. Unless and if you didn't enable, you won't get any sort of communication from the field. So enabling port is very much important. Okay, then so once the ports are properly enabled, then only this configurator will act as a master, and the slaves, that is the field devices which is trying to communicate with the master, that is your configurator, will be able to communicate. So for that one, the port enabling is much important thing that you need to note down. Then once your ports are all ports are enabled, as you can see here, it will be showing like this, it is used. If you saw any sort of other symbols than the tick mark, then there is some sort of discrepancies, you need to sort it out immediately. Okay, so if, and most importantly, if you don't want to use the ports, you can disable also. Okay, nobody no others can access it. If you want to use it, please enable them. Otherwise, if you didn't enable, you can use it. Okay, and as you can see here, we have so many plus indications here. Okay, inside this, when you try to expand it, each and everything, we have so many in-depth things inside it. So one by one we will sort it out. Okay, next thing is that when you expand the gateway, okay, you need to assign the gateway parameters. Okay, well, you need to provide the gateway informations. Okay, you need to provide the names, and if you make any sort of changes, please save it. Okay, and even you can rename the PC object files as well. Okay, you have a renaming operations. Once you rename it, you press enter, it will get configured. Okay, and most importantly, if you want to view the configuration file in the PLC gateway icon, choose the view configuration so that you can able to see the configurations in it. Okay, so how to configure the Ethernet port? That is the thing that you're going to see. So this Ethernet configuration is very much important, because in the Ethernet configuration only, okay, you the exact IP address that you're going to use, because it will be the default IP address, right? So here inside this, since you had already assigned the temporary IP address, okay, the system will get restart. Then you can do going to reconnect it, and you are going to cross confirm it whether you had assigned it properly or not. So in the Ethernet configuration, you have three different things. One is the IP address, the temporary IP address, say for example 16.14.7.2. This is the IP address you have assigned. Means you can see that IP address in the configuration Ethernet parameters. Most importantly, in the IP address, you can see network marks, you can create gateway views, you can use it. So next and foremost thing that you want to know is mapping. Okay, so mapping data to the gateway memory. So gateway has the memories. So how many memories we can use it? Okay, what are the following tasks this gateway can do it? Gateway can we can copy maximum of 100 data registers. Okay, data map commands in the gateways. Okay, we can copy the statuses from the different tables. We can move to the internal memory of it. So how the concept is going to happen? See here, you have a PLC. Okay, you have a network switch, then you have this gateway, there is the Mbs4, or you can have the Mbtcp also. Okay, so you will assign a temporary IP address to it. Okay, first you need to assign a temporary IP to it. For this also you need to assign the temporary IP to it. So in this configuration itself, already it has some inbuilt memories. Okay, so registers it has. So you're going to use those registers Okay, so in the mapping data, what command you're going to do, you're say for example you're reading any values from the, okay, if you're reading any values from holding registers, okay, if you're reading any values from the holding registers, read that value. What you're going to, you are going to read that value from there, and you're going to move it to the registers that you had created, okay, inside your gateways. It can be Mbtcp or it can be Mbs4. Okay, so how many registers you can use? More than 100 to 200, 100 registers you can use. Okay, maximum up to 200 separate copy commands you can make it. Okay, so what we are going to do? So very simple. From the holding register, you are going to copy or the read the value and moving into the register which is already present inside it. Then what we are going to do, from the that register we will move to the PLC through the by accessing the controller tags of the PLCs. So the controller tags you create here inside the Mbtcp or Mbs4, the same tag you should create in the PLC. Okay. So as I told earlier, and the data maps you need to provide from which address you're going to read. Okay, say for example the reading address. Okay, read hold registers is going to be the 4000. That address you need to provide here, and to which address you're going to assign. So that is the data map you're going to, from 4000 please move it to 2000 register number 2000. Okay, how many counts? It can be 1 2 3. Say for example you might be getting 8 values, means what you can do in the register count you can increase it to 3 4 5 based on the concerned equipment. It can be 10 or up to 200. You can use it. Okay, but most importantly we will always go from 0 to 10 ranges, maximum ranges. Okay, and this swap code is very much important, whether you want to swap the code or not. Say for example no, you don't need all the values, you just need last two values, means then you can go with the swap code options. If no need, please keep it with the no change itself. And most importantly, what is the delay preset? Delay preset is also very much important. You should know what sort of the register delay that you need. Okay, so in order to know this one, you need to know the field equipments holding register values. Holding register, if you are going for energy meters, you need to know the holding register value of the energy meter. The energy meter can be different ranges, Siemens, Schneider Electric, like that, so many brands are there. Even Alphanor also we have this energy meter. So you need to know you need to cross study the which energy meter that you're going to monitor, from which energy meter you're going to read the values, whether it is Mbs4 or Mbtcp. Okay, whether you're going for a serial or a TCP communication. As I told earlier, okay, so in the command option, so when you double click it, okay, this screen will open. From here you can edit the values, whether you want to change it to 4000 or 3000, you can change it. Okay, and this two address also you can change, register counters also you can change. Okay, and swap code, if it is no change, no change. If you want to change it, you can change it. Okay, and even comments also you can provide. It can be a description for what the signal is going to be, whether it is MDB panel or it is going to be the SMDB panel. Tag numbers you can provide 1 2, or no, you're going for a some pumps, then you can provide the consent tags of pumps, or no, you're going for a recirculation pumps, you can give it. So those tags you can give in the comments. It means when creating itself, you're creating in a clarity from which address you're going to read, from where you need to move. Okay, what is going to be the register count, okay, and what is going to be the delay, and what is the signal name. All these parameters you can do in the command mapping. So as I told earlier, this addresses can be in the range from 0 to 9999. Register count can be 0 to hundreds. Swap codes, what is a swap code? If there is no swap, okay, whatever is receiving you will receive it. If it is a word map, so if it is a 1234, it will change it to 3412. No, if it is a word and a byte swap, so what will happen, it will read it as 1234 as a 4321 in the reverse way. If it is a byte, what it will do, if it is a 1234, it will read it as a 2143, like that. You can make the swapping there itself. Okay, based on the, so before doing this, if you're going to use mod scan and read the values, using that you can able to identify the whether you're getting the values from the holding registers properly or not, then you can go with this. Okay, my recommendation is that always try to read the values directly through the swap codes. If it is something critical, something precise, then you can go with a different swap codes. Okay, and delay present also you can make it. Okay, once you updated all the things, okay, please press the OK button. Okay, and if you want to add the more thing, Okay, you have, as you can see here, we have option. This is a one line of command. It doesn't mean this is only one line of command you have to provide. You can probably the required amount of commands by adding the row. If you add row, the same parameters will come there. By double clicking it, you can add all the required parameters one by one, like this: four lines, 5 lines, 6 lines, 10 lines, like that you can. But the smart way to do is that use the register count. Say for example, you're reading a value from 2000. Okay, you're reading a value from 2000. The next is going to be the 2002. Instead of going for 2002 in the register count, you can increase it to 3, 4, like that you can do it. Okay. Next is that how to download the project. Very simple. Once everything is ready, okay, you have a option here. As you can see here in the screen, you have an option here. This is for download and this is for upload. This is for uploading the configuration file from the gateway to your PC. This is download is going to be from your PC to the gateway. Okay. So once you press the download button, the screen will open. Here you need to select what sort of communication that you're going to use. Then this is the IP address that you need to provide. The IP address differs from project to project that you have assigned. Or sometimes if you don't know what is the IP address, maybe if you're connecting directly, better to type the IP address here, test the connection. If the test connection is success, then you can go with the download. Or sometimes if you are in a network, you can go with the browse device options also. There you will have 3 to 4 equipment, 4 gateways. So which is the one that you want to select, that one, then select that one, then go for the test connection. Okay, then the IP address will be updated here, then go with the download option. Okay, so if you're going for a browse option, this is how the display will be there. Then you select the concerned one, then you do the download operation. So what will happen? So the configuration file will be transferred from your PC to that gateway device. So this is how basically you need to do the downloading. Okay, if you want to upload it, so you have already downloaded it, you forgot to take the backup. Okay, or if you forgot to do the savings, then what you can do it. So as I told earlier, we have a same like a download option. Okay, as you can see the software, you have a upload option also here. So select that upload option. Immediately what will happen? The screen will open. So in this screen, you need to choose the Ethernet IP that you want to access. The gateway address you already know. Try to type that one and do the test connection. If the test connection is successful, then you can go with the upload option. Once you upload it, the loading will be there. Okay, once it is complete, you can open the file and you can save the files whenever required. Okay, so this is how basically uploading and downloading you have to do. Okay, and even through the browse device options also, the same uploading you can do it. Okay, when you browse the devices, in the Prosoft discovery services, these equipments will come. Then you need to select the concerned equipment, then you can go with the uploads. Okay, as I told earlier, for the diagnostic and troubleshooting, with the help of the LEDs, you can do it. If the LED is powered off, it means it is turned off. If there is any fault LEDs glowing, if it is off, it is in the normal operation. If it is a solid red, there is a fault in it. You can able to identify with the color indications of the LEDs. You can able to sort it out what is the fault it is having. Or sometimes if the configuration is off, it is in the normal operation. Or if it is configuration is solid amber means okay, then there is some sort of issue with your configuration file. Then it is better to go with the reset option. Okay, and if the error LED is off, then it means there is no issues in it. If it is flashing in amber, then there is some sort of error conditions inside it, or if the communication is not getting proper. And sometimes if the network is also improper, okay, then if it is off, then there is no issues. It means there is no power. If it is solid red, duplicate IP address is there. If it is a solid green, it is connected properly. If it is flashing red, connection timeout is happening. Okay, so all these things you can able to identify with the help of the LEDs itself. Okay, and even the module status also you can take it. Okay, if it is off, there is no power. If it is a solid red, there is a major fault inside it. If it is a solid green, the device is operating properly. If it is a flashing red, there is a minor fault in it. If it is a flashing green, it is in the standby mode. So all these things you can able to identify with the help of the LED indications. So even for the Ethernet port, LEDs is also you can able to identify. If a link is off, there is no activity. If it is link is flashing amber, So transmission receiving of data is happening inside the LED ports. So if it is a serial port also, even for the if the TX and RX is off, there is no activity. If they are flashing green, it means receiving the data. RX is receiving the data. If it is flashing amber, it is transmitting the data. So as I told earlier, once you are online, okay, using this, you have an icon here in the software, okay, this diagnostic icon. Once you press the diagnostic icon, what will after assigning configuration, everything, downloading and saving the files, everything, when you press this icon, what will happen? This screen will come. This screen will come. So this is the diagnostic window. From here, as you can see here, you have the decimal values. When you select it, you know, you will have a range from 0 to 50. You have an arrow like this. Keep on changing it from you know, you will have a screens from 51 to 100. Okay, and the range that you can set here. So the decimal values will be there, 0 0 0. If everything, if there is no signals, zeros will be there. If there is any signals, you will receive 1 0 1 1 0, like that. Binary values you can see. Or sometimes if you're going with the you're receiving any floating values, okay, if you're going for a floating values, if you want to see the floating values which is communicating, you can see there floating values can be from 2 or 3 1, or it can be from 8 9, or some sort of different values you can see here. So in the diagnostic screen, you can able to see the communication properly or not. Okay, first and foremost thing is that you can check the communication, then you can check the signals, whether it can be a decimal signal or digital signals, or it can be a floating point values. You can see in the diagnostic screen information. Okay, and also even your command values and communication status also you can say for example, if you are in the port 1, if the communication of TX and RX, okay, are not same, if there is so much errors, then you can be able to sort it out that the communication is not okay. Sometimes communication will be in the negative values also, it means there is no proper communication. So in the diagnostic screen, you can able to sort it out whether you're receiving the signals or not, whether the communication is proper or not. Even the real-time values also you can see it, energy meter values, if you're assigned properly the holding register values, and if you're moving them to the concerned registers properly, then you can see everything in the diagnostic screen properly. If the diagnostic screen, if you're not receiving any sort of values, if the TX and RX is not equal, or if you're having many sort of errors, it means there is some issues with your communication. You need to rectify it. Okay, so this is how basically the set of connections that you need to make. Okay, when you connect it, as I told earlier, once your connection is proper, you can see all the values. You can see the IP, what is the IP address. Okay, as I told earlier, even in the communication status also these parameters will come. In that one you will have a TX and RX values, and even you know, error values also will be there. If there is no communication, the communication code will be there. So using that, you can able to sort it out the communication is proper or not. Okay, you can use DB9 to RJ45 adapters for your communication. This is the one side. This is the side you're going to connect with your Mbs4, and this is the side J1 jack. Okay, if you're going for RS45, you can use 1. Okay, and most importantly for you know, TX minus, you can go with the 8. Okay, you can go with the 8, and for the grounding connection, you can use the fifth number. So this is how basically, you know, the TX plus positive and negative, and most importantly the grounding connections you need to make for RS485 communications. You can use any sort of communication. You can go with the RS232, or you can go with the RS422 also, but RS485 is pretty easier because using the 3-wire you can able to establish the communication. So this is how basically you need to do. Okay, so as I told earlier, for RS 485, 1, 8 and 5th will be connected properly. This is going to be a ground, and this is going to be a white wire, and this is going to be a black wire. Okay, so next thing is that how to add the gateway to the RS logics. We can nowadays we got evolved to the Studio 5000 as well. So what you can do, you can use the RS logics. Okay, then if you know, when you connect it, you can see here, if the EDS file is not there, you can upload the EDS file from the device. Okay, if the EDS file is not there, sometimes it will ask with the question mark. If the EDS file is updated, you can see it properly. If it is coming with a question mark, then you need time to upload the EDS file from the devices. If you need EDS files, you can download from the Prosoft configuration websites as well. So as I told earlier, if you want to add this new module inside your PLC, especially the Studio 5000 software, so in the IO configurators, in the Ethernet, right click and add the new module. Once you select the new module, this screen will appear. From this screen, you need to choose what is the gateway that you are going to create. So it can be a number of series. Say for example, you are going to add Plx31 Mbs4, you can choose that one. Or if you're going to add Plx EIP Mbtcp, you can choose this one. So module type you need to choose. Then in the new module dialog box will open once you created it. So what will happen there, you need to rename it. Okay, here you need to provide the IP address that you have assigned in the module. Then only the communication will be there. If you assign something else, it won't happen. Okay, then you need to go for IO connections. You need to know what sort of at which slot you're going to install it. The revision always go with the 1. It can be 1, 2 or 3. Okay, slot number you can provide it. But this is the size, IO connection size. You can have the input of 274, output you can go with 264. Okay, so once it is created, select OK button. So you can see your gateway is getting created inside your Studio 5000 logics. Okay, so next is that inside your gateway you need to assign these things. So you had created a module in the PLC, okay, and you had configured your MBS. Okay, PLC is a separate thing, and this MBS4 module is a separate thing. You had configured it properly. Now you want to establish the connection between these two peoples. So what you have to do? So there comes the help of this EIP class connections. It can be different categories. You can go with the class 1. Okay, if you're going with the class 1, you can use the data addresses from 0 to 99. Input size can be from 0 to 248. Okay, so most importantly, if you're going for integers PLC inputs, you can use 248s. Okay, if you're going for an output size for the PLCs, you can go with 0 to 248. So this is a basic connection, EIP class 1 connection that you can make. Inside this class 0, you have this much categories. I always prefer you to create your tags in the controller tag access. So you inside this, what is the tag that you're going to create? The same tag, okay, the same length you need to fix inside your PLC. PLCs also. You need to fix inside your PLCs also. So then only the matching will be there. Then only the communication will be there. And the tag name that you're going to create inside in the controller access tag, the same tag you need to create in your PLC controller tags. Okay, if you created them properly and the array length you have fixed it properly, then only you can able to establish the communication between them properly. This is the basic thing to link your Mbs4 gateway to the PLC. As I told earlier, most importantly, whenever you're going for a command or anything, enable option is there. If you disabled it, you won't establish any sort of communication from the controller tags which you have created in your MBS gateway to the control tag which you have created in your PLCs. In order to establish the access or communication properly, you need to enable them properly. Okay, as I told earlier, you can use the internal addresses in any range that you want to use, and IP address is very much important. Okay, and that data type is very much important. If you're going to read the boolean, you need to assign it bool, or you're going to integers, please go with the int or int. Or if you're going to floating points or the real-time values, please go with the real-time values. Okay, and offsets is also very much important. All these parameters you need to assign. And if you don't want to do any sort of swappings, please keep it none. If you want to do the word swappings, then you can use it as required. And most importantly, this register count is very much important. Okay, because say for example, from 4001 to 4003 you are getting the values continuously. Then your starting address you are providing as a 4000. Then register count you can keep it at 3. It means 4001, 4002, 4003. All the readings you can see it. Okay. So as I told earlier, even in the diagnostic also you can able to see the exact statuses. Okay, so whether if it is a connection timeout, how much time it happens, how much microseconds it happen, what is the IP address it is there. So all these things you can see in the diagnostic window. Okay, next foremost thing is that the messaging option you can create inside your PLCs. So as I told earlier, okay, since you had created the Ethernet interface, okay, you need to have the messaging methods. The messaging, we have different methods. It can be unprotected write, it can be a typed write, or it can be a word range write, or it can be PLC write. So this is the write data, and this is the block that you had created, a run diagram that you had created for writing commands. Okay, and most importantly, why we are going for this? Say for example, we are going to access the information from the logic processor. Okay, we have different set of command sets, so the commands has to work properly, right? So for that purpose you need to create inside your PLCs. As I told earlier, once you created the message configuration dialog box, so here you need to do the basic configuration. Most important in the communication, this is very much important. You need to provide what sort of communication path you need to provide. If you didn't provide any sort of communication path, then it won't communicate with your controller. So this communication path you need to create. That is very much important for the communication. As you can see here, the communication is Ethernet, and the communication address you have to provide. So in the same way, you can do the reading operations also inside your logics. As I told earlier, even if you created a message box, message configurations, you need to do the provide the communication path. The communication path is very much important. This is going to be your Mbs4 address or Mbtcp gateway address. Okay, this is very much important. If you're going for a table write values or read values, you can use this blocks, and you can create the message configurations here. If you're going to do only CAP table read values also, then you need to create the message blocks like this. Then inside this configuration you need to do all the requirements. Then in the communication you need to provide the designation tags also you can to create here. What is going to be the source element, what is going to be the destination element, from what is going to be your source and what is going to be a destination, you need to choose it. Then in the communication path you need to provide your consent gateway. Then only the proper communication between the gateway and the PLC controller will happen. These things you need to make sure. Okay, so this is a basic recap of how we can assign the Mbtcp. As I told earlier, you need to provide your offset values, holding register values, port numbers, IP addresses values, enabling. That is very much important. And as I told earlier, whenever you configure your ports, enable them. If you didn't enable, you won't have any sort of communication between the master and the slaves. Okay, so as I told earlier, in the Modbus TCP you have the holding, you can it supports you can read the coils, you can read the input coils, you can read the holding register values, you can force it, okay, you can read the input registers, okay, you can mask it, you can read the present and the multiple holding registers. All these functions you can do it inside it. Okay, you can have a command list up to 160. Okay, it can support clients up to 10 clients you can support using the Modbus TCP. As I told earlier, in the Modbus TCP also you can configure basically who is going to be your client, okay, what is the register address, what is it going to be your timeout, and what is the commands that you're going to provide. Okay, as I told earlier, these are the important parameters you need to know. What is the control command register address you are going to have, okay, what is the response time, all these things you can fix it. Okay, and most importantly, inside the client command you're going to create, okay, what is your read register from internal address, what is going to be there from there, what is your register count, okay, it can be from 4001, 2, 3, what is the boarding interval, what is the swap code, and most importantly what is the IP address that is going to read. So all these things you can assign in the Modbus TCP, because in Modbus TCP this say for example even in the energy meters also we will assign the IP address. So that IP address you need to provide in the Modbus TCP commands, inside the commands, then only you can able to access them. Okay, and then you need to choose the function that you want to do, whether you're going for a read coil, input coil, holding registers, those things you need to choose it. Okay, and most importantly port connections, as I told earlier, you need to enable them properly, you need to assign them properly. In the first port, what is going to be the slave address, the second port what is going to be the slave, that address also you need to provide here. If it is a type slave, okay, if it is enabling the port, you need to provide the address also. Okay, if you didn't provide the address, you can't able to do it. And as I told earlier, in the port you need to set all the requirements. Most importantly, the baud rate, what is going to be the parity, whether it is a even parity or odd parity. What is a baud rate? Baud rate can be different. It can be from 19,200 or 4,200 or 3,600, like that. So many things will be there. So based on the baud rate of the field devices, the same thing that you need to use. So for example, if your energy meter, okay, if you are the energy meter that you're going to communicate, so if it is a baud rate is 19,200, the same thing you need to set up in the port. Okay, and if it is a even parity, you need to set it here. If the slave address of the one, the energy meter is 1, and the same thing you need to assign it here. The slave address you need to assign in an MBC port. Then only you can able to communicate with them. Okay. So these are same things which is we already discussed. The same things keep on repeating, so it will be easy for you. So most importantly, if we till the concept. Thank you so much. Please subscribe and press the bell icon. If you want to know more and learn more, you can contact us. We have the contact details here. And most importantly, if you like this video, please share with your friends. This section is going to be a useful session. Please, if anyone is new to this, PL31X series in this Mbs4 and Mbtcps, how to configure using the Prosoft Configurator. This session is going to be a useful session. Please share with your friends. Thank you so much.